It seems every single month we are hearing about new titles gearing up for PR pushes to unveil a teaser or a trailer introducing itself to the gaming world. And well, sometimes they kind of fall off the face of the earth without giving the fans any updates. It's not too often that these games tend to show off their gameplay and then take a dip from the publicity, staying quiet for far too long. So I thought, maybe we can explore a few of those games that have disappeared for quite a while, and maybe these are the games that you were looking forward to see, and hopefully they are still in development. Now, these are not in order, it's merely just a compilation of the games rather than an ordered list, and as much as we hate to see these games stay quiet, as of right now, here are 5 MMOs that have been MIA for far too long. Starting off with Lost Ark. This game seems to respectively be on a lot of people's upcoming radars that hopes to deliver a lot, such as wide variety. You know, they have 18 different classes that has a skill system a little bit similar to how Diablo 3's is, except it is a little bit more complex. They have a tripod system that gives the players the ability to create dozens of different possible effects for the exact same skill that stems off of 3 tiers of customization. It will also offer a ton of activities outside of fighting. You can do card battles, drinking games, fishing, and a ton of more. But wait, we're not done yet. There's still a little bit more. They have dungeons that will be found throughout the world, secret spots. Upon that, they have exploration that you can use boats and ships for, where you are able to fight bosses for rare loot and collect those ships that have different specific functions to them and be able to take them to discover islands and take ownership of those islands. But wait, we're still not done yet. They will also include raids, open world bosses. They'll have a massive open world battlefield, a PvE arena where you are able to team up with other players to defeat enemies, and they also will have a Coliseum that focuses on 1v1 and 3v3 modes, along with story tournaments for those who are looking for a little bit of a less competitive mode. Now, as you can tell, there is a ton of content coming that Tripod and Smilegate are hoping to bring, but we haven't got many updates in quite a while. Lost Ark started the development in 2011 and was apparently trying to put the game into closed beta phase in the second quarter of 2016 for Korea and China, with a later release down the road in the West. But without any news, it kind of makes us a little bit scared. It does make us hoping that there will be more information coming out of Smilegate, just so we can stop being a little bit paranoid. With what Tripod and Smilegate have said that they will release for the game, it's hard not to believe this game will be very good, but it's been quite quiet, so get on your shit, we want to play your game. No, but seriously, we really want to play your game. With number 4, we're looking at Lineage Eternal. Similar to Lost Ark, it's categorized also as a hack and slash MMORPG, yet this one has the lore of the Lineage series behind it. The game will have a combat that is called the drag action input system, where the skills that you have will be activated by the gestures you make with your mouse on the screen. It sounds pretty cool. Not sure if it will be as smooth as it sounds, but hopefully it will be. Now, compared to Lost Ark's 18 different classes, we do know that Lineage Eternal will have at least 4 in the beginning and opening up more down the road. But with the development taking quite a while, I had this feeling that they aren't going to only be releasing 4 at release, but that they will have a lot more in the beginning. It is a hunch, but hopefully it's true. Lineage Eternal has been in development since 2011, with NCSoft originally wanting to release the beta phases back in 2013. You know, obviously that did not happen. And then again, they wanted to do the same thing in 2015 for Korea, yet NCSoft decided to push it back once again into 2016. They have said that the closed beta testing would be delayed until 2016, and with not much information since then, we're hoping that NCSoft development hasn't come to a halt, and maybe we'll be able to see this game before the end of this year. Maybe. Let's hope. Number 3, End of Nations. You thought it was dead? Well, Tryon Worlds put the game back on hold in late of 2013 to evaluate where they wanted to take the title. So it kind of sounds like they canceled it, right? Well, maybe not. But Tryon has stayed very quiet since the first half of 2014 about their title. End of Nations started out as a MMORTS, with alpha testing beginning back in 2011 and closed beta back in September of 2012. Eventually, Tryon redeveloped the title into free-to-play MOBA, and then they followed it up with Silence, pure quietude. This game had a rather hectic development phase, as you can tell from switching the path of the game, also its payment model, only to be left on hold to maybe someday be revived once again in the future. Now, it is very likely that we won't see this game ever again, as Tryon seems to be, more than fine with moving on from End of Nations and focusing on stronger titles with more popularity, but maybe it's possible that we do see it in the future, and maybe it's even more redeveloped into something new and refreshing. Global Agenda 2. Do you remember Highrise's original Global Agenda that came out back in 2010? Well, Highrise was in the works of a sequel that was primarily focused on objective-based content. If it's not a MOBA, then it sounds very similar to one that will have 5 players square up against each other that will supposedly support esports and a spectator mode. It was not going to have classes. Highrise said that they wanted the players to be able to select what you wanted to play and join the queue from there. It would also feature a dome-esque city area, possibly to serve as a gathering point for players in-game, along with tons of different weapons and offhand items. But wait a second, doesn't this kind of sound like Paladins? Well, Paladins is what Highrise is calling their spiritual successor to Global Agenda, yet both didn't really pan out all too well, and Paladins is actually still rather new. No one knows for sure if Global Agenda 2 was scrapped, but if it wasn't, could we see that Global Agenda series come alive once again? Global Agenda had pretty good features for a game, it just wasn't really made all that well, and many people were turned off rather quick, like myself. But hey, if we see the sequel ever come out, maybe it could be miles better than the original, and maybe be a little bit more fun than the original one as well. Numero uno. Not sure why I said it like that, but it is Game of Thrones 7 Kingdoms. Alright, I know at first many people were disappointed, like myself, that Big Point was actually developing a Game of Thrones title, and secondly, that it was going to be a browser-based title. What? With a massive series like Game of Thrones, you would have thought a company that had plans for a large and immersive experience and that wasn't going to be in a browser would have taken the chance to deliver the Game of Thrones MMO experience. Well, the game started development back in 2012, and they unveiled the first footage of gameplay with a trailer on July 12th of 2012. They have been quiet for a while, but back in 2015, Big Point did announce that they were hiring positions for their Game of Thrones title. After that, all we thought it was dusted and scrapped, and some actually had hope that it was for it to be picked up by someone else with plans that weren't focused on a browser-based MMO. There was a tweet about 4 weeks ago, I believe, by someone asking Big Point if there was a game for Game of Thrones still in development, and they assured that they are continuously still working on the Game of Thrones MMO. It has been very quiet, but hopefully with all the hate towards the beginning of the development, that Big Point decided to change their direction and not really decide to release a browser-based MMO. Game of Thrones is too massive and would be way too limited by browser-based, especially if it was using the Unity as the game engine. All in all, I hope one day we can see a Game of Thrones title. I myself have made a video on this topic, giving 7 reasons on why Game of Thrones deserves a proper MMO and not what Big Point had in store for us. So I'll try to leave something on the screen if you want to check out that video, but as for the Game of Thrones MMO, it's been rather quiet. It's probably going to stay rather quiet for a while, but hopefully we'll see something sooner than later. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I would love to know what games you were looking at and just kind of fell off the face of the earth. Let me know in the comment section below. That's gonna do it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.